Brilliance Audio presents River Bodies by Katchur, performed by Lauren Ezzo. Chapter 1. He was watching her. Becca didn't always have to see him to know that he was there. Sometimes she could just sense him, feel the weight of his stare, aware his eyes were on her as she ran the narrow trail along the river. He knew her morning routine, timing it right to catch her as she passed by. Under ordinary circumstances, Becca would have found it creepy, if not alarming. But she knew him. He was family. Although he was older than her by more than 15 years, he'd been a part of her childhood, her adolescence, someone who had always been in the background of her life, as much a part of the scenery as the mountains and river. This morning, as she stopped to catch her breath, she spied him through the autumn trees. He was standing on the other side of the Delaware River, on what had also once been her side, the Pennsylvania side, where she had grown up in the small town of Portland. Now she lived on the Jersey side, which on most days felt like a whole other country rather than a mere state away, a simple cast across the river. She placed both hands on her hips, stared at him. He stood motionless a few feet from the rushing rapids. He didn't attempt to communicate, not even so much as a raised hand. On any other day, she might have glanced in his direction, never slowing her pace, taking the path away from the river, cutting deeper into the woods, forgetting about him altogether. On this particular morning, she couldn't say why she chose to stop and stare. But she did. She couldn't look away. It was as though there were some outside force at work pulling her toward him. She didn't believe in coincidences, but rather she believed all things were tied together for one reason or another. And whether Becca liked it or not, she was tied to him. She stepped closer, stopping 2 feet from the edge of the riverbank. Romy, her German shepherd, was alert, ears perked, the tips of her paws nearly touching the icy water. The river roared past, the sound of its raging rapids a constant white noise. Across the river, the Blue Ridge Mountains loomed, the trees hemorrhaging red and orange leaves. Becca took another step closer. Her sneakers sank in the mud. There was something in his hand, something small. She was mistaken. There was something on his hand, some kind of glove. He was wearing camouflage shirt and pants, the pants soaked to mid-thigh from wading in the water. But he didn't fish. She knew this about him. No, he was a hunter. Her heart ricocheted inside her chest. "I see you," she called, but the river's rapids drowned her voice. He didn't move. He continued, watching her. Then, without warning, he turned and walked up the bank, disappeared behind the trees. Becca lingered, an uneasy feeling working its way up her spine. It was getting late, and she had another 2 miles of trail to run before she would be home. She had to hurry if she was going to make her first appointment, with a golden retriever that she suspected had swallowed a large piece of a tennis ball. Still, she hesitated for a few seconds more. When she was certain he was gone, that he wasn't coming back, she patted Romy's head. "Come on," she said to the dog, and took off for the trail once again. She wound her way over the rocky terrain, careful to watch her step for fear of turning an ankle. She concentrated on her pace, finding rhythm in her legs, matching it with her breathing. The fury of the river's rapids slowed to a hushed whisper. It wasn't until she reached the pedestrian bridge, the one that crossed the Delaware River, that she stopped for a second time,